Hey everyone, Mike Miller, Herald Times, joined by basketball columnist Jeremy Price, coming to you from Assembly Hall. Jeremy, you still eating?
We got a little pizza crust left here.
I tried to start this as soon as possible to see if we could get Jeremy to eat finish eating his pizza while we discuss the game. You gonna finish that, buddy?
I'll just hang on to it, thanks.
All right. Yeah, what's the final score here? 85-52 over Mississippi Valley State here Sunday afternoon. Mississippi Valley State is a not very good basketball team. They have been basically living exclusively on the road. Lost to Fort Wayne actually on Saturday afternoon, so made the drive down to Bloomington and got beat again. Obviously, one of those schools that just takes a ton of guarantee games to really pay for their whole department. They're not going to play a home game until January, but one of the things you get when you schedule Mississippi Valley State is you get a team that's going to give you a lot of pressure, going to press you basically all day, and that's what Indiana got, and maybe a little else. Really, the thing...
I think you're overstating it.
Yeah, I'm trying here. Really, the thing I get out of this game is no James Blackman. He suffered a knee injury last week at Fort Wayne. Not exactly sure, not exactly... no specification of what exactly happened with his left knee. Now, his left knee is the knee that he first tore his ACL, I think, end of his sophomore year of high school. And he also had the meniscus issue 2 summers ago, July 2015. And the right knee was the one that he tore the ACL in last December. So we're dealing with the left knee right now. And to be fair, doesn't sound, at least right now, like surgery is going to be an option. Tom Crean said that they're hopeful. He'll be back before long, but he also stressed the need to be patient and the need not to rush him back. But he was a full participant in pregame warmups. He dressed. It looked like he was going to. It looked like he was going to play. And then, of course, on the pregame radio show, Tom Crean drops the bomb. He's not playing. A knee injury. And anytime you hear the word knee injury and James Blackman Jr. in the same sentence, it is cause for concern.
Yes, with a guy like that who has a long and lengthy history, as you pointed out, of knee issues, you don't like anything like that to come up. But as you say, all appearances are that we're not looking at anything major here. It looks more like a bump, bruise, banged up, whatever you, hyperextension, whatever you want to call it. Otherwise, he wouldn't be out here doing pregame warm-ups, doing all that stuff. And I'm guessing that there's probably a little mystery they just as soon keep in the air leading up into the North Carolina game. I think if you've watched some of North Carolina and Indiana over the last week or so, Indiana probably wants to stack the deck as much as possible in its favor, which I think they'll have, considering North Carolina is going to be coming off a full week layoff.
Yeah. First
game after that trip to Maui and back, which is always difficult. And maybe if you throw in a little mystery about the health of James Blackman and maybe try to give the opponent a little reason to underestimate you a little further, in addition to that loss at Fort Wayne, why not?
Why not? Try it all. Other than that, though, this game was a game, and it wasn't too terribly interesting, although really this was, kind of the only real intrigue was kind of seeing the way Indiana approached things coming off that loss at Fort Wayne. They had all their flaws laid bare in that game earlier this week. Really, right now, this is a team that's still trying to find, I think synergy is a word you could probably use, just trying to find, I guess, roles and fits, and it seems at times that their team's still struggling without, its voice, really. It doesn't have that guy right now, and that's a work in progress.
Yeah, there's just not a lot of fluidity with this team right now, and I think that maybe that opening game against Kansas was a little bit of a outlier, maybe being the opening game and Kansas obviously being in the same situation where they're trying to figure things out and so on, sort of maybe gave you the impression that things were further along than they actually were.
Yeah.
So now that reality has set in and we've gotten into the day-to-day grind, week-to-week grind of the season, now it's a little different situation. Indiana's got to do more than show up for one big game.
Yeah.
Then again, I guess maybe they don't. They have one big game coming up against North Carolina, and then it's Cupcake City again for a few weeks. So, but still, this team, like the first half today, they're up 40-28 at the half, scored 40 points, which sounds not half bad. But frankly, most of it was just in transition and the fact that OG Anunoby is a much better athlete than anybody else that Mississippi Valley State could have put on the floor this afternoon.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't feel like the offense was running any better, that the ball necessarily moved that much better. Tom Crean seemed to think so post-game, but I think that was more so in the second half, which I think things were a little bit better in the second half. But how much of that do you attribute to what Indiana's doing, and how much do you attribute that to Mississippi Valley State sort of finding its level a little bit, on top of having played a game just 24 hours ago,
Right.
on the road again? So, a lot of contributing factors, and again, as we've already mentioned, there's really no reason to take any great deal of anything, positive or negative, with the exception of James Blackman's absence from this game.
Right. I will say, however, that to see Curtis Jones, I don't know, bounce back's the right word, but it was interesting talking to Tom Crean about just the way he's approached things after that Kansas game, after he played so well on that stage. And Tom Crean kind of said that he was a guy who's just been pressing a little bit in the meantime. He's been coming off that, and I don't know if unsure of himself is the right way to put it, but he's still figuring things out. He's still learning about himself at this level. And today he was a bit of a magician with the ball. He was 5 assists off the bench, 9 points, 3 rebounds. Did a little bit of everything. Again, you're not playing a great team, but I do think it could be beneficial for a guy like that to just have another jumping point to take him into this next month of the season.
And I think Curtis Jones is a good example of what we're talking about. A guy, you come into the first game of the season, nobody really knows what to expect, what you're going to do, what you can bring to the table. He has a really good game, sets the bar pretty high, but now it's trying to figure out, okay, what's my role on this team? How much burden do I need to carry? What do I need to do? Because not every night does Curtis Jones need to come out and score 15 points like he did against Kansas. Not every night does Curtis Jones need to come out and hit big buckets with the game on the line necessarily. And it's the same for all the other guys on this team. That first game was sort of a searching out point, but just because what happened in the first game is not what's going to happen every game. So that's another good example of where this team's trying to figure out its strengths, its weaknesses, when to attack, when to lay back, be patient. How much do I need to force the issue? How much do I not need to force the issue? All those kind of things. And so that's very much still a work in progress for this team.
Wednesday night, North Carolina will be in here at Assembly Hall. You know who else will be here? The 1981 championship team will be back for a bit of a reunion. They'll be honored before the game, I guess at halftime too. But they're going to be honoring that team. It sounds like a lot of the living members of that team will be here, if not all of them. Also in attendance, Kyle Schwarber will be Indiana's honorary game captain on Wednesday night. The building will be rocking for that one.
And you know who probably will not be that thrilled for that 1981 reunion? North Carolina coach Roy Williams. He's probably the only one related to the Tar Heel program at this point that was affiliated with North Carolina at that time, but he was an assistant coach on that team and probably would not like to revisit that game if at all possible.
I'm going to call him up this week and ask him now.
Well, why don't you?
Let's talk about that game. Anything else from here, Jeremy? What do you think?
Career high for OG Anunoby.
Yeah, that's right. 15
sick last week, career high today.
21 points, yeah.
A little surprised to see him play 26 minutes coming off the sick game the other night.
And he didn't really practice until Friday night. It sounds like he only did a little bit Friday, and he missed the previous 2 days worth of practices. But yeah.
But anyway, super OG.
Thomas with a double-double.
Double-double for Thomas
13
Bryant.
and 11. 13 points, 11 rebounds.
As you already mentioned, Curtis Jones had a nice game off the bench. Nice job by Zach McRoberts. Not a lot in the statistical department, but I don't think he's a guy that's going to bring you a lot in the statistical department. What you want with him is a guy that's going to make some plays defensively. He's going to give you some hustle plays. He's going to keep the ball moving and make the offense flow the way it's supposed to flow. And on the rare occasion that he gets an open shot, he's going to knock one in, as he knocked in a 3 today for, I think, his first points of the season.
They were his first points of the season. He was a plus 28, which I don't know if I put too much stock in that tonight. But definitely, I mean, he was just kind of, you could tell he's really engaged. And to quote a tweet I really enjoyed from Crimson Quarry early in the game, they wrote something like, Zach McRoberts is quickly becoming the favorite Hoosier of dads across southern Indiana. Does it all, as Thomas Bryant said, did a lot of the dirty work. There's one play down to the baseline. He runs out, tries to save the ball and maybe knock it off a Mississippi Valley State player. Instead, it goes into the hands of Devontae Green, who dished to Thomas Bryant for a dunk, and Bryant was loving McRoberts after that. I mean, it's kind of plays like that. So don't know how much he'll start. I'd be surprised, honestly, to see him start against North Carolina, but Stranger things have happened. Anyway, solid play from Zach McRoberts, and that's really all we should say about this Mississippi Valley State game, because North Carolina's on the horizon, and that's what matters. That is what really matters. You can quickly erase the memory of that Fort Wayne trip with a win over North Carolina. Maybe forget it altogether with a win over Louisville and Butler too, or one of those two down the stretch in December. But
take 3 out of the 4 big non-conference games, and I think anybody'd be happy with that.
Absolutely will. So I'm going to let you go finish your pizza.
I'm going to finish my pizza
I'm
right now.
going to finish working myself, and I guess we'll see you Tuesday. We'll preview the North Carolina game. We'll get together.
Yeah, we'll talk about it then.
Okay. Chew with your mouth closed. Please don't talk. All right, chew. Okay. This is way too long to be talking about this game. See you guys.